get too hungry for dinner at 8. I like the theater, but never come late. I never bother with people I hate. That's why the lady is a tramp.
Welcome to part 12 of our series, Jazz from its Origins to the Present. In this part, we're going to be talking about jazz singing since the 30s. During the 1930s and 1940s, every big band featured a singer, either a boy or a girl. These singers were required to be on stage with the band the entire evening, even though they only sang a few songs throughout the various sets. After World War II, many of the big bands were breaking up, and the singers that were in these groups started to become even more popular than the groups that had spawned them. Even though there were hundreds of big band jazz singers, only a few started to dominate the jazz singing. We're going to talk about some of those jazz singers now. Jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald got her big break in 1934 when she won an amateur night contest at the Harlem Opera Theater. She also went on to win the amateur night contest at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. In 1936, Ella Fitzgerald recorded with members of the Chick Webb Band. She sang with blues inflections and especially on some of the light-hearted novelty numbers, like A Tisket, a Tasket. Let's listen to Ella Fitzgerald singing with the Chick Webb Band on a tune called A Tisket, a Tasket.
A tisket, a tasket, a brown and yellow basket. I send a letter to my mommy. On the way I dropped it. I dropped it, I dropped it. Yes, on the way I dropped it. A little girlie picked it up and put it in her pocket. She was trucking on down the avenue, but not a single thing to do. She went pecking all around. When she spied it on the ground, she took it, my little yellow basket. And if she doesn't bring it back, I think that I will die.
The next female vocalist we're going to be talking about is Sarah Vaughan. She was also very talented and won the amateur night contest at the Apollo Theater 8 years after Ella Fitzgerald. Sarah Vaughan had a wide vocal range and had great control over her phrasing and dynamics. By 1950, she was Downbeat's top female vocalist. In the 1950s, Sarah Vaughan signed with Mercury Records and created some very memorable recordings. Let's listen to a piece sung by Sarah Vaughan called Scat Blues.
I do shoot, but no, not tonight, not tonight, not tonight.
Female vocalist Dinah Washington grew up in the Chicago area and had learned to play piano as well as had a very strong gospel influence. Dinah Washington specialized in singing the blues, and one of her most famous hits was What a Difference a Day Makes.
What a difference a day made. 24 little hours. What the sun and the flowers. Where there used to be rain.
Although Carmen McRae did not have the same abilities in range and dynamic contrast as Dinah Washington and Sarah Vaughan, she was still their equal in jazz singing. McRae was a pianist who sang in the traditions of the Billie Holiday style, only with her own rhythmic interpretations. Carmen McRae also won the Apollo Theater Amateur Night Contest. She sang with many other bands and continued to record for many years. Here's a piece sung by Carmen McRae called The Music That Makes Me Dance.
His words and his words alone are the words that can start my heart singing. And his is the only music that makes me dance.
Throughout the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, there were many other wonderful female jazz vocalists. One of the newest female jazz vocalists is Cassandra Wilson. Let's hear an example of this new style of jazz singing by female vocalists from Cassandra Wilson called Death Letter.
I got a little this morning, how do you reckon it rates? Hey, man, you love is dead. I got a little this morning, how do you reckon it rates? You say you hurry, hey, man, you love is dead.
Just as there were numerous female vocalists of these early time periods, there were also many male vocalists. One of the most influential early male jazz vocalists was Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby worked very hard to create a relaxed style of baritone singing. Here is a piece by Bing Crosby called A Gypsy in My Soul.
If I am fancy free and I love to wander, it's just the gypsy in my soul. There's something calling me from away out yonder. It's just the gypsy in my soul. I've got to give vent to my emotions. I'm only content having my way.
Pianist Nat King Cole didn't have big band experience, but became very popular in the 1940s. Let's listen to a piece by Nat King Cole called It's Almost Like Being in Love.
What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me.
Joe Williams was another male vocalist who joined the Count Basie Band in 1954. One of his trademarks was to bend the notes at the end of phrases and created almost a half-spoken effect. Here's a piece sung by Joe Williams called Woman's Got Soul.
She may not be the best-looking woman I ever did see, nor have the charms of the latest of high society. But the woman's got soul, worth all money and gold, and all the love that I hold belongs to the woman with soul.
One of Williams's contemporaries was Frank Sinatra. He was not always considered a jazz musician, however, even though he sang with groups like Harry James and Tommy Dorsey. Frank Sinatra rarely appeared with improvising musicians, and instead he sang pieces that were meticulously arranged and rehearsed. Frank Sinatra influenced many other male musicians. Let's hear a piece sung by Frank Sinatra called Night and Day.
Night and day, you are the one. Only you need the moon or under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you day and night, night and day. Why is it so?
Tony Bennett was one of the male vocalists who was strongly influenced by Frank Sinatra. He's recorded many albums, including some recent albums in which he incorporated other contemporary artists in a series of duets. Let's listen to a piece sung by Tony Bennett called Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Gosh, oh, get up, how'd they get so lit up? Gosh, oh, get up, how'd they get that size? Golly gee, when you turn those heaters on, woe is me, I gotta put my cheaters on.
Another one of the male musicians that was strongly influenced by Frank Sinatra was Mel Torme. Mel Torme used cool jazz and bebop styles in some of his recordings. He also got his start with Chico Marx of the Marx Brothers. Through the 1970s and 1980s, Mel Torme sang jazz and is known for his improvisational style of scat singing. Here's a piece sung by Mel Torme called I Surrender, Dear.
We've played the game of stay away, but it costs more than I can pay. Without you I can't make my way. I surrender, dear.
Two of the other male vocalists of the 1980s that became very popular were Bobby McFerrin and Al Jarreau. We're going to end part 12 of our series, Jazz from Its Origins to the Present, with a piece sung by Al Jarreau called Puddit.
Put it in your pocket. Put it in your shoe. Put it in your locket. In your kidney stew. Corner of your office. Floorboard of your car. BB King show keeps some in that blues guitar. No matter where you go.